Welcome to Rodland's Neck Trophy Club, home of the first round qualifying event for the AWA Whitetail Pro Series. Located on the Great PD River, just over 100 miles from the coast of South Carolina, this 14,000-acre plot of land is a hunter's paradise, playing host to turkey, hogs, squirrels, and most importantly, whitetail deer. The competition consists of two qualifying events, one in South Carolina, the other in Missouri. The top 4 qualifiers from each event will advance to face each other at the championship in Kansas. With only one day to scout this massive property, competitors take a few minutes with outfitter Troy Bird, who will give them the lay of the land and hopefully a few hints.
What we have here is 14,000 contiguous acres, 82 food plots on this place, about 125 stands that we actively keep up and maintain. You've got some bucks are, short in stature with a little small tight rack, but he's a 4-year-old buck. And you've got these young deer that's got 18-inch racks and they 3-year-old,
An outfitter's job is to serve as a guide, showing hunters where deer are located. Because this is a competition, however, Troy knows that he can't be too specific.
Where was the last place y'all hunted?
Everywhere. To be honest with you.
In the last 3 days.
Some information. Where's the biggest buck?
We hunted everywhere. Me, if I want to kill a big buck, I wouldn't hunt nowhere around a piece of corn. If a guy's here for 3 days and he's going after a big buck and all, you rolling the dice on it. You know what I'm saying? Me personally, if I was going to go in this place and hunt me a big buck, I'd hunt the edges of this stuff. Because you know where everybody else has been. That's just, I'm giving you that advice, maybe.
A lot of this competition has got to do with nerves. The way you handle that scope on that gun is going to play into this scenario, just like it played into scenarios in the past.
It's scouting day, and the competition is finally underway.
This property has everything to hold, the deer. We got a lot of ground to cover, so we're going to break off and try to do something a little different.
It's 14,000 acres, and this place is huge.
The easy is to go where the food plots are. I'd like to look for signs outside of those areas.
We're really going to have to get after it if we're going to find these deer.
Basically, the issue we got is we've got 3 soybean fields that are all still standing. And I thought I kind of had it to where it was just me and one other guy, but now Robert's over there.
The competitors use surveying flags to mark their hunting locations. They can have up to 3 hunting locations at any given time. Once their locations have been flagged, AWA rules state that the other competitors must maintain a 100-yard distance.
I think I'm going to travel down south first. The property manager indicated that he started planting in the south. The wheat and clover that he's planted in the south is likely already coming up. So I'd like to go down and check out some of those food plots. Man, look at this. Hardwoods. This looks incredible. I got to go check this out. I love the feel of this. Man, it looks like Carson just drove by and is checking out this spot as well.
In a previous event, Carson and Dennis battled it out for a spot to move on to the championship.
I'm not even sure he scored the first day, and then he started going to the open fields and shooting does. That's not an opportunity for him this time. I think his strategy's got to change.
You mad, bro? Huh? Get over it.
And then we've got food plot here, there's a food plot down here, and there's another one on the other side of the block. So they've got plenty of foods that are here. I started walking an old road and there's hog sign and got down, kind of weed through the hog sign and found there is pretty good deer sign coming through, found a few scrapes in there and walked up a buck on that side of the road. So walked up a buck over here, walked up one over here. So there's definitely deer coming through here. So what I'm gonna do, there's a scrape here on the ground. I'm gonna use a time-lapse plot watcher camera. I'm gonna set it up this afternoon, so it's gonna record what goes on this evening. So if anything comes up here today during daylight hours or in the morning during daylight hours, I'll know exactly what it is.
Well, last night we were sitting out on the back porch and saw a buck and a doe right here behind the house where we're staying. And I noticed we got a fairly recent cutover right up here. And even though it's just a few hundred yards from where we're staying, I'm going to go down here and throw up a plot watcher camera on it and check it out. I think this could be a good spot to hunt. I'm thinking those deer probably holed up in those short pines right there. In the next couple of days, it's going to get really cold, down in the 20s, and that's pretty cold for southern deer. And having hunted down here my whole life, I've found that they'll usually come out in these cutovers. You know, when it gets down in the 20s, they like to get out in them and get the sun on themselves, and they feel safe. So we're going to throw a camera on this and just see if we can see any deer in here. These plot watcher cameras are really good scouting aids. You don't have to worry about if the deer walks close enough to trigger it. It just films all the time, continuous. And if you're going to hunt a place just for a brief period of time, you're not familiar with it, you just want to kind of see what the deer are doing, this is a real quick way to kind of get a handle on deer movement.
I was looking for some tracks out in the field. There's a ton back here. The thing that concerns me is that, you know, it looks like it's a lot of hogs. We stepped just off the food plot, and here's exactly what I was looking for. Is scrape. This has all been broken. That's a pretty good sized buck to be able to get all up into this and break that up. I love the feel of this area. I love the food plots. Need to make sure we figure out how we get back to the spot.
After a morning of scouting, the hunters make their way back to base camp to refuel and head out for the second half of the day. Coming up on the Whitetail Pro Series.
We're at the same place. I was going to get right on that corner.
Everybody apparently is sort of keyed in on the same thing.
I showed him on my phone. He was standing on the truck where I was putting my climber. I said, I'm going to hunt that corner right there.
I showed him too on the map.
We go over there. There's a piece of ribbon hanging off in the middle of that neck that comes out, and his climber's 75 yards from that point. He's gonna have to shoot through me to shoot a deer. Robert, I love you, man, but move it.
Well, we went out this morning, did some scouting, got a good little place, found a couple of scrapes, jumped up a nice buck. We're gonna head back out, just got done eating lunch, we're gonna head back out and hang a stand. It's different than what I'm used to hunting. Some of it you can hunt, some of it you can't. Never had to, walk 20 yards from me, if maybe closer to even see him. We're gonna set up right here. I came down here about mid-morning, about 9 o'clock, jumped up a big buck right here in this woods. There's about 7, 8 scrapes right here in this woods. Got a big lane right here. I'm telling everybody, you're gonna have to be able to see to win this competition. The more ground you can see, the better you're gonna do.
Right now, we're going into the rut, so you'll find the bucks where the does are. So the name of the game right now is find the does, and you'll find them around food. The big thing is if you can get 2 decent bucks, that'll give you an upper hand on the other guys. So again, the key is if you can find that one hot doe, you might be able to solve that problem in just one sitting. I'm gonna stop here for a second. So this looks like kind of a natural finger for deer to come and stay in the cover and pass through this property right here. So what I'd like to do is get somewhere where I can see on this side as they come down the river, down the side of the river, as well as see back down the power line. And this looks like a trail right here where the deer have been coming through here. So I can see that right here. I'm gonna go over here to the edge of the woods here and see if I can see any natural trails coming out of the woods going into this finger of woods over here.
The rut's been going on around here for about 2 weeks now. I'd say it's in full swing. Got some good weather coming that's gonna kick it up one more notch. I'm on what I call pinchback hunting. And I'm going to slip into an area that has, it's kind of narrowed down and bottlenecked. There's a big drainage ditch out here that drains the property back into the river. What we got is, this is a natural drain that drains the backwater back to the PD River over here, and the PD River is about 150 yards out there. And all the woods around here are so thick you can barely walk through them, but they all got great deer food in them. And the trails come down into this draw type effect, and they go back up the hill on the other side. They claw the bank out really good. This is a really good example of the trails coming to and from. You can tell by the moisture in the claw marks how fresh the sign is. These deer are coming and using this particular trail because there's a feed tree right out there.
I started out this morning, came up on some food plots, found a couple of scrapes around. This one block here has got food plots all the way around it basically. So I'm gonna get up in there in the morning. It's got some hardwoods, some oaks in it, and an old logging road I can see down at about 115, 120 yards. And to be sure we'll catch a doe coming through and maybe a buck coming through, and got a pretty good shot at it, I believe.
I was down here this morning scouting, and I run into 3 of the other competitors. So everybody apparently is sort of keyed in on the same thing.
We're at the same place. I was going to get right on that corner.
You know, I found this soybean field earlier today. I mean, it's pretty obvious according to the map, but there was nothing marked, nothing anything when I got here. So I put a piece of flagging out to mark, you know, where I was going to climb. He didn't have anything marked, no tree stand or anything.
And I looked for your flag and I couldn't see him.
It's right there on that corner where I showed you. I mean, I'm right there on that corner. There's pink ribbon all right there.
I showed him on my phone. He was standing on the truck where I was putting my climber. I said, I'm gonna hunt that corner right there.
I showed him too on the map.
We go over there, there's a piece of ribbon hanging off in the middle of that neck that comes out, and his climber's 75 yards from that point. I'll take a big old over here somewhere. I mean, can you miss that? If I tell you, literally told him, I said, I'm right there on the corner, and he goes and puts a ribbon up and sets his climber up.
Where I was planning on hunting is about the same spot, about right in there.
On that side.
I mean, we showed him, right there is where I'm gonna climb on that point, and he's 75 yards from it. And you can't miss the ribbon unless you went over there and did this. I don't see no ribbon.
We put it right there when you walk up the edge.
Bad part is the guy's sleeping on the bunk bed right below me. I know where to find him. Either he's gonna move or he's gonna watch me shoot a lot of deer, but that's where I'm sitting. He's gonna have to shoot through me to shoot a deer.
It's nearing the end of the scouting day, and the hunters are beginning to set up their locations so they can be ready tomorrow morning for the first day of hunting.
This is the best ground line you can find right here.
So my goal this morning was to find at least one suitable location that I could have confidence in. I went south. I knew that's where the agricultural fields are at. Found an incredible spot, I feel like. It's about 75 or 80 acres of soybeans still in the field. Look at these soybeans. There's all kinds of signs of trails coming into the field. Look at this grape. That's a fresh grape, fresh this morning. I'm gonna stake claim to this soybean field. My goal this afternoon is to go set up a stand and know that that's a stand that I can go to that I feel confident I'm gonna see deer.
You know, that sunflower camo was made for Texas for dove hunting. But if you look out here in the woods, you got yellow, green, red, brown. This thing ought to blend in well. Them deer are gonna come across that lane quick. I may put it right out here in the middle. You know, as soon as you get here, it's new, and you got one day to scout it, one day to put your stands up, and you start hunting the next morning. You know, I don't care what anybody says, it's tough. Supposed to be getting a 21-mile-an-hour wind starting tonight. I'm gonna go ahead and stake her down. They're talking about a chance of snow in South Carolina. Anytime you get a front coming in, barometer's gonna rise. We got a good moon, so it should be a good hunt. Every guy here was in season 1, and got another guy named Chad Weatherford. He's from South Carolina. They know what to expect, know what to do. I'm the rookie. And the guys that are here saying how tough it is to hunt around here. You know, it's a whitetail deer. It's hunting. You know, if it was easy, Everybody and their brother be doing it. We gotta get out of here. We just got this place set up, you know, as good as it's gonna be. I got a couple other places I want to scout this evening before dark. Tomorrow's a different day. What you've done today, you may have to change for tomorrow.
I see that the hogs have been playing here. You can see where they've been rooting up. They got a pretty big hog population here. The first area I went to wasn't quite what I thought it was, so I kind of had to back up, regroup, and go with plan B. Drove around a little bit, I found another spot that I thought would work pretty well. I'm pleased with that going in. I think my chances are good to see something in that area tomorrow.
After a long day of scouting, the competitors make their way back to base camp for a good old-fashioned home-cooked meal. They do a lot of things well at Roblin's Neck, and cooking's one of them. It's day one of hunting. The competitors pick up their equipment and make any last-minute adjustments before the hunting time begins. But not all the competitors have the same strategy for preparation.
Oh, I like it. It's getting close to Christmas.
Here's how the competition works. The hunters are given blank rounds, 2 for the morning and 2 for the afternoon. They will be using digital scopes that record their shot when the trigger is pulled. This will allow the judges to score them based on shot placement, antler size, and the maturity of the buck or doe. Each hunter is also required to carry a DeLorme InReach satellite communicator for tracking and safety while hunting. AWA has placed strict guidelines on hunting start and stop times. This puts the competitors on the clock, so it's important for them to get started as quick as possible. Because once the official shooting time starts, the countdown begins, and the pressure's on to see who can find the deer.
Maybe that at least woke Dennis up.
All right, we're going in here. I found a scrape line a little bit earlier today, so we're going to go in here and give it a shot and see if we can get this buck to visit his scrape there. You got cut over on that side, cut over here, and cut over there, and this is kind of like the passageway to get back and forth between the two. We got some oaks mixed in, so hopefully we can catch something passing back and forth in between.
This is the first place that I found that actually has bedding in one location and food source in another. Acorns, red oak, white oak acorns dropping back here. This is the first fresh paw I've seen. Got a licking branch over it, got the leaves and pine straw cleaned out of it. You can tell it's really fresh because no leaves have fallen in it and the wind's been blowing for the last 2 days. This licking branch is a real key to buck activity because they rub on it with their nose. Leaves a different kind of scent. A scrape without a licking branch is not really much to hunt over, but a scrape with a licking branch is hot commodity. We're gonna set up under them acorn trees and see if we can't get something come out of that bedding this afternoon.
This morning, first morning of the competition. We've heard one shot. It's cool. No wind. We're only allowed 2 shells. 2 in the morning, 2 in the evening. And I'm thinking about shooting a round off just to make all the other competitors get nervous.
For the competitors, finding the deer is only part of the challenge.
I've seen a really nice buck just cross the slope, and there's a lot of good sign at the end of this green strip.
Operation of the digital camera scope is also proving to be a factor early in the competition.
I was hoping I'd see some does here, and maybe they would stage in there and feed a little bit this morning, and the buck was alone, and he didn't spend much time. He Stepped across there so quick I couldn't get the scope to power on and even get a shot. We're gonna go to a backup spot over here. It's next to the river and sit there for a while and see what we see.
Next time on the Whitetail Pro Series.
I did see some extra tape there that someone else had put on top of mine, you know. If I see them, I'm gonna let them know I was here first. I was the first person to mark it on the map, so.
Got to claim another spot, buddy.
They can move on out and find another spot. I'm gonna run them out.
Get your camera, get your camera. You know, you gotta do what you gotta do. It's a competition.
I freaking missed it.
Let the chips fall where they may.
It's getting exciting now.
Boom!
For more information about the Whitetail Pro Series or to become a member, visit awapro.com.